This is going to be incredible. Yes, that's right. We take a tour of Incredibles with Rick Scarpello. And for these tour episodes, as a reminder, if you see the full info, but you don't see a click-through to the pictures, go ahead and pull up the full description. Click through the pictures that way. Very pleased to be on Cannabis Radio and the Sexpot Comedy Co-op. So I just walked into Incredibles. I just signed in, and here's Rick.
How you doing?
Rick, I forget how tall you are.
I am very tall.
Yeah. You're taller than Bob.
A little bit taller than Bob. I think it's the hair. The hair is the difference.
Interesting. So just even a dig, just as we're talking about him. So
well, your hair is so beautiful.
Yeah,
That's.
I see what you're saying.
It
Yeah.
makes me think about his hair.
We'll come back and we'll try and find him. You're going to give me a tour.
Yes, you're signed in. You're good.
Indeed, and I can see that there are desks and chairs and people.
We're going through the locked door now.
So here's the locked door. We're going away from the office and into.
Should we start with grow?
Let's do that.
Have you been in a grow today?
I have not been in a grow today.
Okay, then you're safe.
All right.
We have lots of ice noise in the background. We used to be a zero pesticide facility for our grow. Now we are a little bit of pesticide, but they're the approved pesticides, like things that you could buy and use at home and safely use.
Things that I could buy at Home Depot, maybe.
Yeah, there's some bad things at Home Depot too that you shouldn't buy.
Right.
But there are some very little innocuous things. Like for example, we clone. Right now we're just passing the mothers' rooms, the moms. These are all the moms. So we clone from the moms. And when you clone, you have to dip them in a gel. And that's considered a pesticide. And really, if you asked any grower prior to this year, when they really think about it, I guess it is a pesticide. It's stopping some growth. But nobody really thought about it that way. It's just a little gel you dip it into. So there are a couple little things like that we do use. So you can see our cloners. We got all our little babies right here.
Oh, real babies.
Real babies. Now, these don't have to be tagged yet because they just got cloned. And then as they grow their little feet and they get put into a bigger pot, then we have to tag them. And you'll see yellow is medical and blue is retail, recreational.
Those are your metric tags.
The metric tags, yeah. And we just go through. These are the children into the grade school children, right? That's my office back there, by the way.
Oh, I see. You get the special office.
I have back there with the executive washroom.
So it's
all of these plants then go from there to the next bedroom.
And here we are going through a hallway, through a locked door.
Into another bedroom. So this is veg 2. So now you can see they're becoming more like teenagers, young adults.
Right.
Lights are on 24 hours a day here. So these plants, you can see there's a couple tables empty because we're going through our cycle. We don't grow out a room, empty a room, clean it, go back to work. A lot of grows will do that. What we do is every week we're cleaning out 2 tables and cleaning a section of the room, harvesting those plants, working that week, and then next week we're doing it again and again and again. So there's always an empty table or 2 as you go through here, and then new children coming up into the world. So then they will go either into grow room 1 or grow room 2.
Okay.
A smaller grow room. So there is 7 tables in here. There is 16 plants on every table. There's 24 lights in here.
Of roughly varying heights.
Yeah, so, these, you can look at them, you don't see any buds. These are pretty new. They've just been clamped down. And you can see in the back, there's some towering trees back there that are getting closer to harvest. So every 2 tables is generally different, sometimes 3. Depends on, it doesn't work out to an even number, but.
Right. It's plants, of course. They grow as they grow.
They grow as they grow. And then this is the next room.
All right.
So another varying heights, varying sections. I would say from my guess, Joe Beef, are the tables in the back probably the next ones to harvest?
Yes, they are.
They look like they're the closest ones to harvest, yep. Without looking, you can see there's a clipboard and paperwork on every table.
Yeah.
We have a compliance officer that works for us full time. Let me close these doors. And then he just got a new assistant. You saw her in here. She is going through those clipboards and checking paperwork, and she has to always make sure that metric online matches what's on the clipboards, vice versa, matches the tags that are on the table. We've had a couple of times where we've had the MED come in and say, we're here to inspect. And I go, okay, why? And for various reasons they've come to inspect, where they've spent the whole freaking day and you got work to do, and they're like, no, We're going to be here all day, and we're going to count every frickin' plant, every candy bar. We're checking everything.
We've got to see it from kind of seed to sale, right?
And you know what? We got to be prepared.
Yeah.
So the first time we did that last year, we were damn proud, 100%. Not one plant, not one candy bar anywhere. And then we just had another one. Guess what? 100%.
Look at that.
Everything's where it's supposed to be. So the people that we pay to do that job do their job very well.
Good. 100%. We like that, right?
Yeah, not 99. Then they're asking you why.
Right.
Where is that candy bar?
All right, we're making our way back through another hallway here. Some high walls separating us.
Now plants go, when they get harvested, up to the harvest room and for drying. Do you want to see that?
Yeah, we should go up.
And you're going up the stairs that we made. Look, there's E stamped in the stairs in the cement.
Ah, look at that.
Notice that?
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Now we're in the employee lounge.
Right.
It's very loungy.
And again, through another locked door. These rooms are always upstairs, aren't they?
I don't know.
Well, they are at, for the tours that I've done.
So here's our plants that are drying. So you see everything is labeled, everything has a tag, and there's various stuff here. So what we do is we take all of our plants and we snip off the buds, not to be sold to be smoked, but to be made extracted into hash. Now there's a couple levels there. There is the really nice buds, and then there's the next level, and that's kind of all we have here. Because what we do is we put it all into food. So we have shatter grade and food grade trimmings that we go through. And that's really, now when you go to a regular grow, they will have their top end buds that they sell. And then they'll have sugar trim or some kind that they're going to use for extractions. And then they'll have even weaker stuff that they'll sell like to people like me.
Right.
We don't have that third level. It's just level 1, level 2. So what's in here is just all of that drying. So we have racks and racks of those drying. Aren't these pretty cool?
Yeah, they're beautiful.
Little screens.
Yeah, and they are labeled food, and can see it all.
Yeah, like sour band, that's what the SB is. Trim, nug, right? So this is going to be shatter, and that's going to be candy bars.
Look at that.
And then in the coolers back here are some of those apparatuses for extracting. And if I open that one, it's full of paperwork. But there's a bunch of nugs in there. And back here, you'll see there's some weed that's just hanging out in some bins. So that's just weed that we buy.
Right.
So we do buy a lot of trim also.
To kind of supplement the grow.
We don't have a big enough grow. We have big enough grow for about 8% of our operation. And,
8?
8. So we're working on more grows, but we have 92 more percent.
Yeah, to go. Right? Exactly. You can grow into your grow. So we're walking back down the stairs, walking past packaging, but I guess we'll talk about that later.
We'll talk about that in a second.
Again, through another lock door. All of these lock doors have keypad locks, and we're going into an extraction room.
Into an extraction room, kind of loud, but what we got going on in here is this is our lab. So you can see we have lab grade equipment, counters, lab Conco hood. We have cascade ovens. We have a convection oven. You're standing right behind that. You're feeling some heat. So this side is for shatter making. You can see some of it here.
Yeah.
So smokable versus edible.
Yeah.
And this is just a regular convection oven that we actually cook the oil. And you can see we're cooking,
yeah.
And that's going to go into your chocolate bar. So we're fully activating the oil in these ovens because the temperature is a little higher and there's no vacuum. But in these ovens over here, we're actually making a precursor to plastic. We are making shatter, something that you want to smoke.
Yeah, so, unbelievable.
And then we keep all that stuff here in these coolers. So this is finished shatter. This is full of 25 units of Black Label Tange that's going to be going to your local dispensary. And then these are full of black oil, what we call it. It's only black because we cooked it. It did look all amber colored like that, golden honey. But we've activated all the THC because in chocolate there's no heat.
Right.
So that's what all of these little things are all labeled separately. There's generally a lot in there.
Right.
Like buy a house, a lot in there.
Many milligrams.
Many milligrams. And then the extraction room, you can see we have a Class 1 Division 1 extraction booth that we've created, part of Incredibles consulting, that we're helping some people across the country. We have 2 of these going into Vegas right now. So these are Class 1 Division 1 extraction rooms. They're made for hydrocarbon. They have a high airflow, low on the floor. They have this $25,000 system in each one of them for fire suppression, and it's a special Nevco 312. Never heard of it, but I guess the government uses it a lot and it's been around a while. But it is a kind of product that, like, there's ABC dry chemical, there's water, there's different things to do fire suppression with, right? All of them require cleanup afterwards. The government, in their ways of spending your money,
Sure.
have created a system to where they could they could have a catastrophic event, spray this stuff into the room, people and papers and everything doesn't get hurt, and you go right back to work. Get your ass back to work.
There you go.
I kind of like that.
Sure.
No,
Productivity.
no, we're using it because we asked them, look, what is the top of the line product to use in this environment? We have butane, we could potentially have hexane or propane, we have a lot of those AIN words, we have hydrocarbons. What is the best? Well, this is the best. There's nothing better than this.
Right.
So that's why we're using it. It's not because of get your ass back to work.
Right. No, of course not. And more for a regulator that might have misheard something about butane, this kind of counteracts whatever they hear.
Well, I mean, look, in the code, there is nothing higher. And I've, like, there's people I was just talking to in Michigan. Michigan, we just flew back last night from Detroit, meeting some people. They're going to open 20 dispensaries and a lot of money and seem like really good people. And maybe they'll carry Incredibles, right?
Yeah.
So they're talking about, are we going to help them with their extractions? I said, well, look, if you can do hydrocarbon, and not every state you can, but if you can do hydrocarbon, this is what you should put in, is this system.
Right.
Because there's nothing higher. There's no local fire guy who's going to come by and say, well, but you should have. No, there is no you should have.
Yeah, there's no higher.
This is Class 1, Division 1. There's no Class 0. There's Class 1, Division 2, which we were before, but now
Sure.
we're Class 1, Div 1. It is the top of the line, the best labs in the country, world. Well, I guess country, because that's an American code.
Right. Sure. I'm with you.
Is that a Canadian code? I don't know who writes that code.
But you've pulled out all the stops, essentially.
Well, and it's, look, when you're building something, it's not that much more money to go from Division 2 to Division 1. It is some more money, but there's a $30,000 HVAC system put up on the roof for this one booth.
Yeah.
The guy from Vegas just called and said his is $500,000. I'm like, let me get back to you.
Let me see what I can do.
Yeah, that's just a little much for HVAC. So now we're in the packing department.
Right.
And in the packing behind you, you'll see boxes and boxes going 22 feet to the ceiling and 40 feet long,
Yeah.
shelf after shelf, all behind cages that are all locked up. Of each one of these boxes has 10 candy bars in it. And I should say chocolate bars, not candy. You can't say candy. Candy's bad.
Yeah.
So there's 10 chocolate bars in
Right.
each one of these. Generally, they're 100 milligrams per bar. Some of these are 2 and 3 and 500 milligrams a bar.
Right.
So each box will have 1,000 to 5,000 milligrams in a box. And you can see how many boxes there are. This is basically a week's supply.
Okay.
So we have to, about a week and a half we have to have here because we got more stuff to get lab tested and approved. And so that's what's happening here. You can see all the labels that we use back there.
Right.
And we'd love to have pre-printed labels and not use stickers, but the laws changed so much that we threw away so many stickers already.
So you gotta just make sure that you are nimble, so that you can change things as the regulations change. Right.
So exactly true. Now we're walking through the dish area,
Okay.
and now we're going to go into the kitchen. So we'll put on our hairnets,
Right. This is beautiful.
and we're walking into the kitchen. You see a nice, clean, hospital-like kitchen, right? Very clean. We've done kitchens for a long time. Come from the background of food. Josh, my chef and partner, the background of food. We have executive chefs in our kitchen. So we've never been afraid of the health department. We've always thought we're friends with the health department, right? That's the only attitude you can have. So today, being Friday afternoon, we're just doing some kind of wrapping up the week. They're doing some testing, and they're doing some R&D. So we are looking at, actually, the medical sales in Colorado have changed a lot in the last 2 years.
Yes, of course.
Recreational sales for us started February of 2014.
So you missed a month.
Yeah, we were the first one licensed, but we didn't get going till February. Yeah, and so we've watched recreational sales go up and up and up and up every month for 2 years, and now it's beating medical. Just happened while we were talking.
Right.
It just happened. So while that's happened, though, medical sales have dropped a little bit from where they were. Now, remember, medical sales today, this month, are double what they were a year ago this
Sure.
month, but they're down for us for the year. And this is typically a down season until the skiers come back and stuff, but that's on the rec side, not on the medical side. So why is medical going down?
So medical is consistent. Rec tends to obviously have an effect on who's here, but medical, those people are here. So why is medical going down?
Don't know.
Okay.
So we've talked to the owners of Chiba Chews. We've talked to the owners of Dixie. We've talked to a lot of these people. And some of them will talk to you and some won't, right? But nobody wants to admit that your sales are down. Well, our sales are way up, but I mean as a whole. But medical
comparative.
Yeah, and medical sales are trending down a little bit. So we want to be in front of that and not behind that. So why? I can sit here and I can give you a lot of guesses. And I can tell you what our managers' meetings and our sales meetings and what the guesses are thrown around the room. And my conclusion today is not much of a conclusion, but here's my guess, is that one, we have less card holders than before. A lot of people are just not dealing with cards and they're just going to the rec side. Two, people are buying more of the high-dosed products. So the 100 milligram bars are not selling like they used to. And that used to be our bread and butter. A couple of years back, 100 milligram medical bars were bread and butter. Hardly sell those now. They want 2, 3, 4, 500. They want the big ones because they're medical people.
Right.
Rec people, they don't need that.
Yeah, because they're having seizures. That's why they need more
It's real medicine.
more higher dosage.
So that's what we're doing today is we're R&Ding a lot of our 100 milligram recipes up to 200 and 300 and seeing how they taste and see if they'll work. And honestly, we'll probably end up with like one 100 milligram instead of 6.
Right.
And there'll be a bunch of 2s and 3s and 4s or whatever. That's my prediction over the next 3-4 months where we go. We have to get new molds, we have to get new labeling, a lot of things have to happen, but it starts in here in the kitchen with R&D, right?
There you go.
Yeah, it's got to taste good.
That's it.
We don't like to taste the medicine too much. Then there's another part of this equation that I think is affecting our sales. And I think it's affecting sales maybe as a whole, but so it's a little counterintuitive what I'm going to say, but the pesticide issue. I mean, you really think about it, people are starting to lose a little bit of faith in the industry. I'm hearing people in California, knocking Colorado. I'm thinking, wait a minute, you guys are using more pesticides. Nobody's testing for them. So nobody's yelling at you. I mean, what did we smoke? What did I smoke last year? What did you smoke? What did we all smoke? We were smoking pesticide after pesticide. Didn't know. I'm hearing about the pesticides that are on our broccoli. My broccoli at the store.
Right.
Or do you buy organic? Maybe you buy organic, so maybe you're...
I'm equal opportunity as far as broccoli is concerned. Yeah.
Organic or non-organic, you spread your money around.
Indeed.
So, I don't know. We seem to be wanting to reinvent the wheel with this whole marijuana pesticide thing.
Well, we're reinventing the wheel with the marijuana thing, period. Right?
Yeah, I just don't get why, because you know what? We already know how to do tobacco.
Yeah.
And guess what? There are pesticides used on tobacco. So you're smoking these pesticides and you're inhalating them, and apparently it's okay.
Yeah.
So why are we rethinking what we put on to kill our bugs on? It's the same damn thing, right?
Yeah.
Smoking it. Okay, now let's look at the food side. We have a food supply in this world, in this country. We already know how to pesticide those. We already know what's safe and what's not safe to eat, I believe.
Yeah.
So why are we just not using the guidelines given to us by the FDA? I don't know.
Because, Rick, because
we don't know yet.
No, that's what I'm saying.
trying to figure it
The
out.
answer is because.
Yeah, I mean, the answer is they really don't know.
Right.
So they don't want to get in trouble, so they're going to the extreme.
The top.
Well,
and that's why you went to the top with the extraction room, right?
Yeah, but look, we already have these answers.
Yeah.
We already know what to do for food and for smoking, for inhalation. I don't know why we're trying to reinvent this, and why are my rules the same in a chocolate bar as a smokable? Why is there not a difference in pesticide? There already is in the world today. So there's a lot of things that irk me.
To say the least.
These are a couple of them.
He says with a smile on his face, by the way.
Yeah. Well, because look, I have to laugh because I don't know that I'd be better if I was in their shoes.
Right.
But being in my shoes, I can bitch.
Sure. These are the shoes you know.
Well, look, I've been doing food for 20, 30 years. I mean, I think I have some expertise to speak from.
Well, that's the thing. I want to talk, just give us a quick background. We'll probably do a longer interview another time when it's the Rick, episode. But just give us the background because you are speaking from experience.
This is the Rick episode, is it not?
Well, no, this is the tour.
Okay.
There's a whole separate Rick episode.
Okay.
Yeah.
I come from the background. I used to be a Chesapeake bagel franchisee. I had a bunch of bagel shops that I was a partner in. I had a small sliver of ownership and ran the company. This is in the 90s, so I thought I'd be a big bagel guy. But I was making dough and transporting dough from location to location and going through all of that of having a small bakery. I took that to my next step. I did that for about 9 years. And then my next step was I worked for Il Fornello Bakery Corporation. They have about 5,000 employees. They have 5 very large bakeries. I ran the Denver Rocky Mountain region. I was their director of operations. We had 40,000 feet. I had 150 employees. We made bread that went all over the country. I shipped frozen bread all over. So there are a lot of regulations I had to go through. I actually built ingredient decks for the back of bread that went retail. And then from there, I was there about 7 years. From there, I went to Udi's Bakery. I was actually the inventor of Udi's gluten-free bread. It's actually called Flourish Bread. I invented it back in 2002. And then when Il Fornao went away from Colorado, and I seeked out the guys Udi's because they made good product, I said, hey, I get this really cool gluten-free recipe. And together we sold that for $120 million. And my little tiny check I got from that is what started this. That's where I get the money for this. But I did that for about 5 years with Udi's, ran their bakery division, helped them get into the frozen sector. So I got about 20 years of really bakery experience. But before that, prior to that, I ran some kitchens and restaurants and things like that.
So again, you've been in these environments for your entire life,
Right,
and
yeah.
these are definitely different rules.
And they don't need to be, because we know how to make food, and we know how to make medicine, and we know how to make things that you inhalate. So we don't need to reinvent the wheel. We just need to go back to the things that we already know. And I wish that these, the problem is there's legislature and there's regulator, right? I deal with the regulator. That's what I've done my whole life. Bob is dealing with the legislator. Because I can't. Because I go ballistic. Like, why are you reinventing this?
Yeah.
You already know the freaking answers.
Yeah.
Let us just regulate it properly with those rules.
Yeah. So anyway, we're standing here with our hairnets. I guess we could probably walk out now, right?
Yeah, we can get rid of those and we can move on. In fact, speaking of Bob, we should go find Bob.
Oh yeah, let's do that. So is that the tour? We saw the packaging and
Yeah, you saw what you grow the medicine.
Yeah.
You dry and then extract the medicine.
Yeah.
Then you take that medicine and you either make it into a smokable or into a chocolate bar.
yeah,
And then you package it and it goes out the door.
Rick, that's the whole thing.
That's the whole thing.
Rick, thanks so much.
Thank you.
The inimitable Rick Scarpello. Fantastic tour of Incredibles. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you clicked through the pictures and now have a better sense of not only what goes on inside of Incredibles, but what it looks like. So you're welcome. Again, very happy to be on Cannabis Radio and the Sexpot Comedy Co-op.